Hi everyone, this is Lomi, and today I'm making a pair of thigh-high stockings for a doll. This method of creating a pattern is super easy. You just need a couple things: your doll, some pins, and a piece of stretchy knit fabric. It doesn't have to be the fabric you intend to use for your stockings. You can use a scrap for this. I'm using the same material because it's what I have. Taking one of your doll's legs, bend the foot so it points down as far as it can. If it doesn't move too far, it's okay. It won't affect your pattern making. Then, taking your fabric, wrap the doll's leg as high up as you want the stocking to go, and pin it in place along the back. You want the fabric to be stretched just tight enough to be snug. This is what helps the stockings stay up on their own after they're sewn. This is easier to do when you're not trying to keep it on camera. If you lay your doll face down like I'm doing, make sure there's something soft under the doll's head to protect the face up. Try to make sure there aren't any big gathers or wrinkles. Keeping the fabric smooth against the doll's leg gives a better end result. Pin all the way down the leg, around the heel, and underneath the foot. Once you get to this point, you have the option of marking around the edge and removing the fabric before cutting. But I've done this before, so I'm pretty comfortable with just cutting the fabric while it's pinned onto the doll, giving myself about 1/4 inch to create the seam allowance. Whether you mark the fabric or just cut it off like this, make sure you have that seam allowance, or the stockings won't fit. Now we'll use this fabric piece to create our pattern. It doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. There will be some bumps and a point at the toe, but we'll fix that when we copy the pattern onto paper. With the fabric piece folded in half, line up the folded edge on the edge of your paper. Then trace around the edge to create your pattern. Round out the toe a little, and if there are any lumpy spots like what I have, just skip past them and continue on the other side. You can fill in the gaps to make a nice, smooth-edged pattern. Add 1/4 inch to the very top, since we'll need a seam allowance to finish the top edge. Cut out your pattern, not with your good fabric scissors, and label it so you won't forget what it is later down the road. Then we're ready to make stockings with any fabric you want. I pin my pattern to my fabric with the straight edge against the folded edge of the fabric, then cut it out. My top edge is a little ragged, so I even it out too. Now it's time to sew. I fold the top edge of the fabric down 1/4 inch, and I decided at the last minute to use a little lace on the top edge. This is just stuff I got off eBay for like 6 cents a yard. Nothing fancy, but you can use whatever you like. As you can see, the lace is not attached to the stocking. That's because the stocking has to stretch. So using a zigzag stitch, I start the hem, then stretch the fabric out as far as it will go and sew the lace onto it while it's stretched out. This gathers the lace as much as is needed for the top of the stocking to retain its stretchiness. I trim off the extra lace and the loose threads, and then fold the stocking closed and pin the edges together. The pins aren't really a necessity, but I always find taking the time to pin or baste things gives a nicer end result. Switching back to a straight stitch, I backstitch at the edge of the lace and at the point where the fabric begins, then sew down the edge of the stocking. Make sure you backstitch at the toe too, or else you might end up with a hole there. Clip your threads and then trim the seam allowance down a bit to remove some of the bulkiness. Otherwise, the back of your stocking will be lumpy once it's on the doll. As long as you're using a knit fabric, there's no need to worry about it fraying. Now all that's left is turning it right side out. I do this using a dowel rod, but a pencil or something works just as well. And there we are, one stocking ready to wear. These are a cute addition to any doll's wardrobe, and the best part is that the pattern can be cut down to any length to make regular socks too. And just in case you don't have the confidence to draw your own, the pattern I created in this video is linked in the description. That's all for today, but if you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.